Hi, what's up, and welcome to this video. In this video, I'm sharing my completed sketchbook for the Sketchbook project. So I had shared about the Sketchbook project in a previous video, so if you happen to miss that, I'll make sure to link it here. But in that video, I shared the drawing process and the theme that I was planning to do when I first started out drawing in a sketchbook. And this is going to be interesting, I hope, because I'm sharing a flip through of the final sketchbook and how it changed as I worked through it. So in the first video, I actually started by using just a simple ballpoint pen like this, and I thought that the whole book would be done in ballpoint pen in a certain style. And as I went through it, it kind of changed and took on a life of its own, and I loved it. And it was a way for me to rediscover a different medium, and it happened to be charcoal pencil and pastel pencil, which draw very similarly to me. And so I wanted to share just quickly what material I ended up using the most, or what medium I ended up using the most in this sketchbook, and what I loved, and how just treating this book for fun, it really just allowed me to rediscover something that I had forgotten about. And so what happened was I started using pencil, and I used a really soft lead, and I just really love how you can vary the weights when you're using a really soft lead, and I love the look of it. And so from there, it led into me digging into my pencil bag, and I found this old charcoal pencil, and I tried that, and I also love that, and you'll see that in this sketchbook flip through. And then somehow I pulled out a very old set of pastel pencils. Now this set is probably over a decade old, because I had this since high school, I think, and which means that it's not only a decade old, it's like 15. I need to calculate my age. I don't even know, but I'm also dating myself, but it's very old, and you can see that they were barely used. And so I took them out, and I just decided I would use them, and I really enjoyed it. So you'll see how it changed as how I used more of them more and more in this sketchbook flip through. So let's get right to it. So I actually went back and I but I wrote down the title of the sketchbook, and it's called Smile, because as I shared in the previous video, the idea was that I was going to do a theme of smiles. And so this is the first page. And if you want to see the process of drawing this, it is in the previous video, which I'll link for you. And this one was really fun to do. I shared that I don't usually do lettering. I don't do layouts like this. I really just do drawings and paintings by themselves. But I just felt like after I drew this mouth, it needed something else. And so I just added this. And I knew I wasn't going to continue on with this, but I thought that I would continue on sort of with this style, doing ballpoint pen. But I will show you what happened. So I then went, and I really love the exercise of doing blind contours. So I did some blind smiles where I just looked at photos of smiles of people that I love and know, so from my phone, and then I just did some blind contours. And I kind of love how this page turned out. It's messy and scribbly, but it's such an exercise in observation, as all blind contours are. And so I did them really quickly, and it was a fun thing to do. And then I decided I would experiment with colored pencil, because I hadn't used it for a while. And so his and hers actually means me and my husband. And so basically I just drew both of our smiles, and I used colored pencil, and I started just kind of coloring in different areas for fun, just to see. And I don't know, I had a little bit of fun with it. It helped me loosen up a bit. And then I went to crayon, and I thought, oh, I'm going to experiment with different mediums. And so I did this in crayon, and these are our baby's smiles from different pictures. And so obviously he has no teeth, or he has very little teeth. And I thought this was fun too. And I started to see how I could vary line weights. And I think that's when I decided to go back to pen because I thought to myself, well, I started with pen and I really should go back to it. And so let me do this ballpoint pen style again. And it was fun, but I really just wanted to keep doing it in color. And these are really self-explanatory, my mom and my dad. Okay, and so then I stopped labeling who these people were. And these are still all people that I know and I love. They're in my family, and I just started to add them. It's not just like a single page dedicated to each person, so then I just stopped labeling it. But in this one I used pencil, and so I thought, you know, I'm gonna go back to pencil and see how that is. And that was good too, but it's still I just really wanted to use color. But I could tell that I was forcing myself to try and stay with the theme that I started with. And this one ended up just being one on this one page. This is my brother. And so I just kept it. And I labeled it, even though I had stopped labeling it here. So you can see that I'm kind of going back and forth, which I think is interesting. But I really just kept thinking, oh my gosh, I started this book with this one, and I should really continue this sort of style. So I was almost forcing myself, but this also took less time. I spent less time on these at this point. And then I started to kind of go crazy. Well, not really crazy, but I was experimenting. And I wanted to let loose more, and I could tell that I wanted to let loose. So I decided I would play with some lines using a gray highlighter and see how that goes. And then I started using this charcoal pencil because there was just something about using pencil instead of pen to get just variations of lines that I thought was so beautiful, and I wanted to keep coming back to. So I did that, and then I found my pastel pencils, and now you're going to see that I started using those. And so I started using these pastel pencils to just draw different faces. I experimented again with labeling, since this was all the same person. This is my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, and after this page, honestly, after this page, I was sold, and I really just wanted to keep drawing with charcoal or pastel because of the way the lines turn out. And so I did another set of blind smiles one night because it was late and I didn't have time to really do a concentrated time period of drawing. And so I basically just decided I would do some blind smiles really quickly before bed. And then I went back to pastel. And I just really enjoyed this. And you'll see the rest of them just end up being the different colors from the set. And I got really really comfortable with drawing lips and teeth. It's really interesting how I had to concentrate a lot more when I first started, and then towards the end it got a lot easier. And I love that practice does that. That practice makes things easier the more and more you do it. And then this one was interesting because I decided I wanted to try doing a negative version of a smile. Did not like that, but I thought it was at least a good way for me to get out of my comfort zone. This one, hopefully you can tell what it is. It's a smile, but it's not a human smile. And I don't know what inspired me to try and do that, but it's a friend's dog. And I had to include the nose and a few whiskers because otherwise I really think, I'm not sure you would be able to tell what that is. It looks kind of like a spaceship. Anyways, and then here are some more. And this one, what's interesting is basically the layout of these smiles comes from photographs. So it was 4 of us friends, and we were all standing together in this photo, and I just drew every single smile from that picture. So one of these is mine. And then the last one is a little baby smile, except that now he has 4 teeth and it looks funny. You know, it actually looks like it's upside down, and it also looks like it could be peas in a pod. And I think that's so interesting, but I wanted to just leave it like this. I don't know why. I thought it was kind of an appropriate way to end, where it could be interpreted as something else and not a smile, and to have it start like this. And so I have to say that this book was really a journey for me. It started with something that I was very familiar with, which was this, something I also was unfamiliar with, and then just the intention of going through and experimenting and not really worrying too much about if it was perfect. And I feel like I really learned a lot about myself, about what I like, about rediscovering mediums that I previously stopped using, and the fact that you can really create art with anything. So it could be crayons, it could be pen, a free pen from a dentist's office in my case. It could just be a simple pencil. It could be highlighters. It could be charcoal pencils. It could be pastel pencils. And honestly, it's about making time for art in a really easy way for me. And I just really appreciated that I had this exercise to do in this book. And it's the first sketchbook that I've actually completed in a while. It's imperfectly done, but I love that I finished it. And I think it's really an amazing thought that it's going to live in a library and other people can look at it in person. And so I actually still need to fill this information out. And then I will ship this back off to the library where they will scan it in Brooklyn, and I guess it'll just live there. And one day maybe I'll be able to go and see it and then see everybody else's too. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.